Hi, this is Brandon, and this video is on the spiral curriculum, and specifically how the spiral curriculum influences instructional design, implementation of instruction, and then the writing process. So you see here this spiraled line with a beginning that moves backward first and continually moving forward and then back, forward and then back, until we have a result. This is time. And this is how the curriculum moves forward in time. This would be the end of the course, whether it be the end of the semester, end of the year, however the class is set up. So we always have to begin with goals and standards. What, by the end of the course, are students going to be able to do? What are they going to know? What are they going to understand? Or know, understand, or do? Some people think of this as KUD, CUD. Some people say UK do, whatever. It's still the same thing. What do they know? What do they understand? What can they do? So you notice, if we consider this moving forward in time, we begin with goals and standards, but then we work backward in time. So there's our line of where we are when we start, but the planning works backward. Well, we have to be able to activate students' prior knowledge. We have to think, okay, these are our goals, but let's go back to what students are already able to do, what they already know, what they already understand. Activate that and build forward. The actual teaching, the instruction coming out of those lessons builds on that prior knowledge. We assess them. Sometimes someone would call it a pre-assessment, to see, okay, what are the students able to do? What do they know? What do they understand? As we begin the course. Then we take that assessment, we reflect, okay, this is what the students know, this is what they understand, this is what they can do, and this is how I begin to revise my instruction. Here's the revision part. Well, then we work back around. So we're revising. Here we hit back on the assessment. So how could I begin to design an assessment based upon my reflection and revision that the students will be able to do when we come back around? Here we get to instruction. Thinking about the instructions. So based upon this reflection and based upon this assessment, as I reflect and revise, how do I revise my instruction? What do I need to do next? Then I think about how I would plan that lesson, and I come back, okay, what goals or standards am I going to be focusing on that build upon what I've already focused on, that activate prior knowledge, but also introduce new skills? Once I've decided that, I come back to planning. I design my instruction that integrates the previous skills and knowledge and understanding, but also integrates new. I assess. Notice how the students should move forward after the instruction so that they can perform better on the assessment. And then I can take that assessment, I can reflect and revise on that assessment again, and start the whole process over. This is continual. So say each one of these peaks is a unit in the course. Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, 4, 5, 6, leading to the end of the course. Unit 1 would be designed and refined based upon my pre-assessment, looking at my goals and standards, what prior knowledge students bring, and how I would be modifying my instruction based upon this pre-assessment. Get back around, okay, Unit 1, I'm revising it and designing it, I'm planning it, I'm teaching it, I assess what's there, and then I start to reflect and revise on all the things that I've done, and I'm back into Unit 2. And the units build upon one another. So I could never start at Unit 5. Remember these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I could never start at Unit 5 because the skills they need to function in Unit 5 should have been taught in previous units. I'm going to be introducing new skills in Unit 5 that build upon the skills in the previous, so that Unit 5 could not function on its own, can't stand alone. Unit 6 then would be the culmination of all. Everything has led to this, because at the end of the course they need to be able to move on from the 7th to the 8th grade, from the freshman year to sophomore year, from senior year into college or even into career. being able to do, understand, and know the things that the course had set out for them. So this is how things continually build upon one another in the spiral curriculum. Well, when we consider implementing instruction, we see the same thing. We begin with expectations. These expectations might be the goals or the standards. And this is in an English classroom. In an English language arts classroom. Then we think about reading, writing, speaking, listening, and observing, and assessment. So notice we still go backward in time because we need to activate prior knowledge. So everything before this would be prior knowledge. Everything here is prior knowledge. What kind of readers are the students? What are they capable of? What kind of writing are the students doing? What do I know that they could do before they came to me? As far as speaking, listening, and observing, what are their skills? What are they able to do? What are they willing to do? And then I'm assessing those things. My assessment, again, allows me to cycle back and revise. I come back and look at new goals and expectations. And I design reading tasks, writing tasks, speaking, listening, and observing tasks that build upon what students are already able to do, just like the spiral curriculum. So I come back to assess what I've taught, the skills that students have practiced to become better readers, better writers, better speakers, listeners, observers, and then I assess and revise again, look at the new expectations to continually build, and the cycle continues. This is very specific to English language arts because these are the 3 language arts. Sometimes people call it the 5 language arts because you have reading, writing, and then speaking, listening, and observing. Often in standards documents, speaking, listening, and observing are combined into 1, and we have 3. So then we think about the writing process. And this is where the spiral curriculum becomes very specific to what's happening in English 509 or EDC 509. We want to start with pre-writing or planning. You might also have a prompt here that the teacher gives the students. Maybe they do several days of small writings as rough drafts. Maybe they do organizers. Maybe they do some lecture and some notes from the teacher, a discussion where they did some writing out of it. Whatever the teacher's doing as a pre-writing or a planning leading up to when students will be drafting. But you notice again that we work backward in time. This section here being prior knowledge, skills, or understanding. I'll put understandings. So you introduce students to the prompt and the idea, and you want them to use what they already know, understand, and are able to do these things, to begin to organize their paper, to start to revise it, maybe even start to edit it. But then as you as you build upon your expectations for it, as you begin to tell them to improve, to help them improve, to show them how working through the writing process can improve their writing, they go back and they're revising more. You're teaching new revision skills. You're teaching new ways of organizing their paper, new ways of arranging the ideas in their paper, new ways of drafting. Sometimes those new ways of drafting may just be making revisions. Maybe you teach them a new way to focus on sentence structure, a new way to focus on paragraph structure. And we come back to the planning, what am I going to do, and how am I going to continue to improve, and then they're using those skills to work through the process again, and then you build. Now, I don't want to say that you have to go through this many drafts of a paper. You may only go through 2, maybe 3, before the student is finished. But the 5th part of the writing process is to publish. So publishing may actually happen down here. You may only go through two or three drafts before the students decide to publish. And instead of spiraling on around, we just end right here. So you're continually giving students a starting point, building upon what they're already able to do, their prior knowledge, prior skills, prior understandings, what skills they have as far as drafting, what they know about organizing their ideas, what they know about revising papers and editing, and then you're teaching new things. And then you circle back around and they're using those new skills. And you're teaching and they're using. You're teaching and they're using. This also gets into the idea that we will talk much more about later of enter, explore, and extend. What students do to enter into a skill. How the teacher uses prior knowledge. Explore. What kinds of activities, what kinds of lessons will students do to explore their new knowledge, their new skills, their new understanding, to build upon what you're teaching. And then extend. How can they then apply or use, pretty much the same thing, the new skills that you've taught. So here you're building, you're teaching, they're applying and building, you're teaching, they're applying and building, you're teaching, all the way through until you publish your piece.